Hello, welcome, I'm James. I hope you're doing well. Right now, there's some great deals on some used hot hatches. You don't need to spend a fortune, so in no particular order, let's get into this. The Fiat Punto Abarth Evo. The Punto is a fairly average looking car, but in the Abarth trim, with its body kit, 17-inch wheels, and its lowered stance, I think the car looks pretty good. It's rare too, as only 350-ish cars were ever registered for UK roads. Now this Punto uses a 1.4 multi-air turbo engine, which gives it 165 brake horsepower, or 180 in the SS trim, which also gave it better suspension, exhaust and wheels. Now even though these Evos are pretty rare, prices are pretty good right now, and you can get an absolute bargain. Online I did find this 2011 Evo with 75,000 miles, looks really nice in white, for just £5,500. And then another Evo, 74,000 miles, in a much nicer colour in my opinion, and it has a panoramic roof, which is quite rare, for just £4,500. However, there is a catch. It was a previous insurance write-off, and that does put some people off, and I can understand that. But as long as it's been repaired to a high standard, I don't see it as a major problem, especially when the car's quite rare. The Renault Clio RS 200. It's an evolution of the 197 model, which is a pretty good car anyway. However, right now they're both at similar prices, so the 200 has the edge because it's newer, it looks better in my opinion, it has more mid-range power thanks to an ECU tweak, and it's shorter lower gears, so it's faster than the 197. Now you can choose between the Sport and Cup models and some other additions and combinations depending on what you want. Now the Cup is less refined and lighter, whereas the Sport is more refined. Now the Clio is powered by its 2-litre naturally aspirated engine, which gives it 197 brake horsepower, whereas the older 197 model had 194 brake horsepower, which is a bit confusing, but there is a reason for that. There's quite a few Clios online for sale, like this 2010 model. It's got full service history, it's done 100,000 miles, it looks great in white, and it has the F1 style rear spoiler, and that's £4,500. Or there's this 197 model, 88,000 miles, in red, again has the rear spoiler, which I think finishes the car off, and that's just £3,500. You will pay a little bit more for lower mileage cars, but not too much more. The Volkswagen Polo GTI Mark V. If you're looking for something that feels a bit more refined and slightly classy feeling, then the Polo could be the one for you. I know it's a cliche, but the Polo's build quality and interior feel is far more superior and plush compared to the other cars on this list. Now it looks a bit like a scaled down Golf GTI, and it's quite a good looking car, it's not too bad. Now under the bonnet is a 1.4 supercharged and turbocharged engine, which is why they can get 178 brake horsepower from this small engine. Now the supercharger builds power from low engine revs, then after 3000 RPM the turbo kicks in, all the way to the red line. Now these cars are only available with a 7-speed twin-clutch DSG gearbox, so there's no manual available until they revised it quite a few years later. There's quite a few Polo GTIs online for sale. You can get yourself into a decent example, like this 2011 model. It's in white, 78,000 miles, looks quite tidy, for just £5,300. Let's move on. If you like the Polo GTI we've just seen, but are after more dramatic styling, then the Fiat Ibiza Cupra Bocanegra is worth considering, as it uses the same engine and DSG gearbox as the Polo GTI. But this car looks a lot more racier, a lot more like a hot hatch. Now the Bocanegra, which is Spanish for black mouth, gets exactly that, along with some other cosmetic changes and unique interior changes. It's basically an Ibiza Cupra jazzed up a little bit. Online I found this 2009 Cupra. It's in a dark red with nice contrasting black alloys. It's got the DSG gearbox, because they all have that, for just over £4,000, which is good value considering it's only done 67,000 miles. The Alfa Romeo Mito Cloverleaf. Now like the Polo GTI, this isn't all spoilers and skirts, it's a bit more understated, but as far as looks go, I really like it. It looks a bit like the Alfa 4C, and that can't be a bad thing. Now it shares the platform with the Punto Evo we saw earlier, and it has the 1.4 litre multi-air turbo engine, giving it 168 brake horsepower. Now inside, it's a nice place to be, and it has the Alfa Romeo DNA system, so you can play with the driving settings. Now even though this Mito may not have the sheer pace or typical hot hatch looks, people are drawn to owning an Alfa. Is it the badge appeal? Is it because it's Italian? I'm not sure. It was called the Mito Cloverleaf when it was first released. Then after a couple of years, Alfa decided to rename it to the Quadrifoglio Verde or QV, which is Italian for green cloverleaf. It's basically the same car, it's just been renamed. It sounds a bit more sexy in Italian. Anyway, online I found this 2011 Cloverleaf in blue, 86,000 miles for £3,500. Good price. The Ford Fiesta ST. The basic Fiesta is a good car in the first place, so it's a good place to start when making a hot hatch. There's 3 trim levels available, the ST 1, 2 and 3. They all get 17-inch alloys, a nice body kit, rear spoiler, rear diffuser, mesh grille, as well as a DAB radio. And if you go for the ST 2 or 3, you add in lots of toys like daytime running lights, tinted glass, keyless entry, cruise control, plus lots more. The fundamentals of the car and performance stay the same. Now this ST is powered by a 1.6 litre turbocharged EcoBoost engine. It has lots of torque from low revs. At about 2,500 revs the boost kicks in, so it feels pretty fast, revvy and feisty. Now the engine has about 182 brake horsepower. It handles well thanks to its stiffened chassis and lowered suspension, so all in all, the ST is a good all-rounder and it looks good. There's quite a few STs online. I found this 2013 ST in white, 68,000 miles for just £4,600, and this 2015 ST3, 59,000 miles, £5,800. The Citroen DS3 Racing, or DS3R. This car is very exclusive. Only 200 cars were allocated to the UK, and there's about 130-ish on the roads today, so it's really rare. It has lots of pedigree. It has strong links with Citroen's World Rally Championship team. It was developed and tuned by them. It has a 1.6 litre turbocharged engine that makes 207 brake horsepower. Now this DS3R is a pretty unique looking car. It looks okay, I quite like it. It gets 18-inch alloys, Brembo brakes, it has real carbon fibre on the inside and on the outside. It doesn't feel cheap inside, it's a comfortable hot hatch. It doesn't feel racy and exciting like the Clio 200, but considering these cars were about £28,000 when new, when they do come up for sale, there's some good bargains to be had. Looking online, I think I got quite lucky. I found this 2012 DS3R, 59,000 miles, in white for just £6,000. And I found another one, the same colour, but without the stickers, which is a shame because I think it looks better with the stickers. It's done 36,000 miles for just £7,000. Both cars are really good prices, but I do prefer the car in black, with the orange roof, the orange trim and the orange wheels. Let's move on. The Renault Twingo RS. Even these small hatches in this list are nothing like they used to be, like the 205 GTI or Mark 1 Golf, but the Twingo is a bit like the 205 GTI. Now the basic Twingo looks fairly average, but the RS version looks a lot better with its RS styling and 16-inch alloys. Now it's powered by a 1.6 litre engine that develops 133 brake horsepower. But the Twingo's light, it feels playful and fun, and it's good on B roads. Now you can also get the Twingo Cup, which gives you an even stiffer suspension. The Cup chassis is lowered and you get 17-inch alloys, but you don't get any air conditioning. The best thing about these Twingos right now is the price. Online I found this RS in red, 58,000 miles for just £2,500, and it has the Cup suspension pack as a bonus. And this RS in black, 2009, it's got a panoramic roof, which is really rare, 85,000 miles for just £2,200. Super cheap. And lastly, this Twingo Gordini, pretty rare, only 20,000 miles, and that's £4,000, so there's lots of choice. A few other cars well worthy of a mention. The Peugeot 208 GTI, 1.6 turbo, 200 brake horsepower. It's fast, great prices right now. The Vauxhall Corsa VXR, 1.6 turbo, 200 brake horsepower, proper hot hatch looks and performance. The Mini Cooper S, very popular and quick. I have covered those cars in previous videos, so you might want to check them out. If you're already subscribed, thank you, I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe.